I lost all respect for Agent Wilson. I don't want to hear her opinions. I don't care what she has to say from this point on. When you keep a Nike deal 2 years in secret while you're spewing all that crazy stuff about Caitlin Clark in the Time magazine, read it. Read what she said in the Time magazine. Yet you had a Nike deal the whole entire time.
What makes this whole situation almost ironic is that Nike truly tried to make Wilson the face of its next big push. They invested heavily, built campaigns around her diamond in the rough narrative, and reportedly offered a major contract extension to solidify her as a long-term cornerstone of the brand. But there's one thing even the best marketing teams can't manufacture: Clark's effortless pull. After securing her own long-term deal with Nike, Clark instantly became one of the company's most visible athletes. Every time she steps on the court in swoosh gear, it turns into free publicity on a massive scale. Meanwhile, Wilson's branding efforts rely on carefully crafted commercials, storytelling, and production teams. Clark, by contrast, generates buzz simply by showing up. Nike can design campaigns. Clark creates moments.
So it's finally here. Caitlin Clark sneakers from Nike is finally dropping. She was signed to them last year, and the sneakers is a year late in my opinion, but nonetheless I'm excited because these sneakers is finally coming out. But what does annoy me a little bit is that this is a collaboration with Kobe. Now Kobe, respect to Kobe, legend, rest in peace, great basketball player, but in my opinion Caitlin Clark is a big enough star and she's creating her own legacy. So I feel like, at least for her first sneaker, it shouldn't be a collaboration with any other player, dead or alive, in my opinion. I feel like Caitlin should have, for her first shoe, had her own original design just for her.
Let's talk about the market impact, because this is where Wilson's expectations collided with hard reality. In Iowa alone, Caitlin Clark's economic impact was estimated at $82 million, an extraordinary figure for a single athlete in a single state. Her influence goes far beyond basketball. She has become a cultural force whose presence moves tickets, merchandise, and national attention. Meanwhile, Nike spent years pushing Wilson as its centerpiece, even as Clark's popularity exploded in real time. Critics argue that Nike was too focused on its internal branding priorities to recognize the scale of Clark's commercial potential. Former Nike marketing director Jordan Rogers even suggested publicly that the company underestimated the opportunity Clark represented. It wasn't until outside voices drew attention to the gap between Clark's influence and Nike's strategy that the company appeared to recalibrate its approach. As Nike wrestled with this transition, the company experienced a stock slump to a multi-year low, an issue driven by many broader business factors, but one that underscored the pressure on Nike to make smarter, more market-aligned decisions. Clark's rise simply highlighted how out of sync their earlier strategy had been.
And all this was done while the shoes being developed, while the collections being done. To demonize Caitlin Clark and try to label her as a privileged white girl that's getting all the privileges, even though she earned everything she got. This ain't about color. This is about good and bad. And I find this a little evil. I find this evil. This is beyond bad, because you had the ability to speak up and say, hey, everybody, relax. Don't get on Caitlin Clark. She got a shoe deal. That's cool. I got one too. Mine's taking a little bit, but it's going to come out. Just be patient. She could have came out and said that, but she didn't.
Nike is finally waking up. Every time Caitlin Clark drops a new sneaker, the internet practically melts down. Meanwhile, Wilson's releases, carefully scheduled and heavily promoted, can't match the explosive, organic momentum Clark generates with a single midweek post. The contrast is impossible to ignore. Clark's drops feel like cultural events, while Wilson's require long build-ups just to approach similar attention. What truly stands out, though, is Nike's quiet acknowledgement of something fans have sensed all along. Clark doesn't just sell shoes, she sells possibility, excitement, and a sense of shared moment. The market is speaking clearly and loudly with its wallets. The demand for Clark is overwhelming, and her influence continues to grow at a pace few athletes ever reach. Wilson remains a respected star, but in terms of market impact, the spotlight has shifted. Clark represents the future, and the reaction to her releases makes that clearer every day.
Nike did not fumble Caitlin Clark. It takes years and years of research and development and building and designing and trialing and erroring to build a custom shoe line. Caitlin Clark has played in only Kobe 5s and Kobe 6s almost exclusively for like the last 3 or 4 years. If they are building a shoe for Caitlin Clark, that Caitlin Clark is going to wear, that she's going to sell, that she's going to give away to her teammates, to her fans, to whomever, it has to be as good as, if not better, than the Kobe 5 or 6. And there's new Kobe variants out, and she doesn't wear them. She signed a $28 million 10-year contract with Nike. Year 2. We're in year 2 of that. The shoes are coming. They have to design them. It takes several years for this to happen. We're not just doing a colorway like
Nike spent years investing in a narrative that never quite matched the market, overlooking the organic surge happening right in front of them. Wilson's resume, gold medals, championships, MVPs, speaks for itself, but even those accomplishments couldn't create the kind of emotional connection Caitlin Clark has sparked with fans. On paper, Wilson's achievements are extraordinary. In practice, Clark's impact reaches far beyond the box score. She isn't just a player performing at a high level, she's become a cultural presence, someone whose influence spills outside the lines of the court. Nike appears to finally recognize the difference between a story a brand tries to construct and a phenomenon that emerges naturally. Clark didn't campaign to be a face of anything. Her influence grew simply because she played at an elite level and resonated with audiences in a way no marketing department could plan. Wilson remains one of the league's premier athletes, but the contrast highlights a larger truth: some stars are built, and some stars take shape on their own. Clark's momentum is the latter, organic, undeniable, and increasingly impossible for any major brand to ignore.